So, as I was saying, welcome to all of you to this new episode of the AfriTech Connect. And as I was saying in the grounding, we've been through different conversation this month, and it was important for us to take some time to reflect and listen from other people who have been attending other events or how was the month in their own lifestyle, in their own lifetime, and also reflect on the different discussion that we had on AfriTech Connect as well. So I'm very happy to have this session as we close this month titled Marching Forward, Lessons from Women's History Month. So I do want to remind everyone that the AfriTech Connect space is a space for us all. So feel free to take space. Feel free to tell us how you feel. Put it in the comments. You can send us a message in the chat if you have any question or any type of reflection that you want us to discuss. Do put it in the chat. And also you can use the reaction button if you feel like anything that is being shared throughout this episode is something that you agree or that you find funny or that you want to reflect on with us as well. Feel free to take as much space as you need. So to help me wrap up this powerful series, we have two phenomenal guests that I'm very happy to have with me. We were supposed to be free, but unfortunately, Geshna is not with us today, and I do want to send my love to her. So with us tonight, we have Chitra and Ryana. So Chitra Gomanee is a relationship manager at Absa Bank and aspires to be a force for positive change within the bank and beyond. Since joining at 19, the dynamic and intellectually stimulating environment has nurtured her into the accomplished young leader she is today. Chitra embodies the qualities of hard work and smart work. While excelling in her corporate role, she earned a first-class bachelor's degrees in accounting and honed her leadership skills. Her thirst for knowledge led her to pursue an MSc in finance, graduating with merit in 2021. Thank you so much, Chitra, for being with us tonight.
Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here, Anga. Thanks for the introduction.
Thank you. Also with us today, we have Ryana Canden. So Ryana is an agricultural support officer at the Ministry of Agro-Industry, who is deeply passionate about sustainability, agriculture, and the use of geospatial technology to create real-world impact. Growing up on a small island as Mauritius shaped her understanding of the importance of land management and environmental conservation. She has hands-on experience in GIS, remote sensing, and drone-based agricultural assessments, and previously worked as a sustainability analyst at Ecovadis. Beyond her professional work, Ryana enjoys watching K-dramas and Marvel movies. Thank you so much, Ryana, for being with us today.
Thank you, Anga, for the introduction, and hi, everyone.
One thing that I do want to add as we start this conversation is I'm very happy to have both Chitra and Ryana as fellows of the AfriTech Fellowship, one from cohort 1 and one from cohort 2, if I'm not wrong, right? Yes. So
Yes,
that's
I think I was from cohort 2.
Yes. So thank you so much for being here and accepting the invitation. I'm very happy to now indulge in the conversation that we've been waiting on and we've been looking at throughout this month. So we've been celebrating women throughout this month of March, known as the Women History Month, and is also the crib for the International Women's Day. So before we actually dive into what it was like to each of our panelists, I do want to ask what this month or even this International Women's Day actually mean to each of you. So maybe Chitra, if you want to go first.
Yes, definitely. For me and Guy, I think it's the second session I've been attending for the AfriTech Connect, and this is the second time I would say I'm celebrating with a wonderful community, the Women History Month, and I would say the International Women's Day. And it's very special for me, I would say, because it's not just a celebration for me. I think it's a celebration and a call to action. We are here to celebrate the milestones and the courage and determination of the women that came before us, the barriers they broke, and the opportunities that many of us can benefit from today. And I would speak from a personal experience, being someone working in finance and in leadership spaces, which decades ago were very male dominated. And now I'm conscious that thanks to those women that were there before me, they made things a little easier for me. And call to action, why? Because through sessions like AfriTech Fellowship and platforms like Women in Tech, that I've seen so many wonderful things happening. I think Women's Day is just a reminder that the progress is ongoing, that as much as we are celebrating, we're also helping pave the way for the next generation of women, where we make it inclusive, we make it an environment where women's voices are not just heard, but also valued. So I think it's a very special month, as we are not just celebrating, but we're also reminding ourselves that the progress is there, it's happening, and it's ongoing. So I would say this is why it's very important and special for me.
Thank you so much, Chitra, and thank you for still being there after all this time. I'm very happy to have you here, and thank you for sharing this. Rihanna?
Yes, so a bit like I'm all on the same length with Chitra. So for me, Women History Month, it's a time to honor, and like it's a time also for reflection for the women that paved the way before us. Also for those who are fighting today, and somehow inspire those who will be fighting, I guess, in the near future. And on a personal level, I think it's also about the possibility. Growing up in Mauritius on a small island, you quickly realize that the access, opportunity, and representation is not evenly distributed, especially for women in science and technology. So Women's Day is here to kind of remind us the progress, and with the progress about the women that chose to show up, speak up, so that today we are here. And also, I think as a women in STEM, it also highlights the importance of visibility, how visibility matters for the for us and for the next generation, for them, for this to be possible. And I think so. It's not about just celebrating, but it's also about continuing the work.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. I think one thing that came out of both of your definition of why you actually think it's important, it's the fact that it is important. I think there is a lot of discourse out there that are saying it's not as needed as we think. Some people say it's not as important. I'm happy that both of you think it's important to actually celebrate it, and to, as you said, both of you, to actually recognize those women that came before us and also celebrate them, so that all the women that actually come after us also see that it is possible to take on things that might have been difficult in the past, or things that were not accessible to some of us. And by fighting, by standing, and by simply celebrating who we are, we get to have those spaces. So thank you for defining that importance as we start this conversation. I think it is very important to define what this month and what it is personally is to you. And I think because if we don't define it, the world will define it for us. And now that we've set that foundation of how important it is and how we should still be doing it in one way or another, in different shape, let's get into the joy of what has happened throughout this month. I would like now, and I do see a comment from Kabashni in the chat that says, "Hello, everyone." Oh, she has to leave because her mother's call, and I think it's very important for me to say this because Kabashni was one of the speaker on one of our session, and she said that she just wanted to say thank you to AfriTech for making this month extra special. This month reminded her how much she'd grown, quietly, deeply, and in ways not everyone can see. So, ending this month with a softer heart, a stronger mind, and a deeper love for who I've become, wishing every beautiful lady courage and strength for the remaining month of 2026. We can. Bonne soirée à tous. I think this is really, really nice because I know Kobashni, she's also a fellow, and it's been nice to see her growth, but also see how even when times are tough, she's still showing up and coming into communities and spaces that we create. So thank you so much, Kobashni, and completely understand that you have to leave. It's okay. And I think that's also that what we want to, when we're defining spaces that are important, it's also important to see how it is important for other people, even though they don't have the whole time to be part of a space. They are very grateful for them. So thank you so much, Kobashni, for reminding us of that. So as I was saying, it's time to now look at the different accomplishments, maybe milestones or moment that made us proud that while we were celebrating. So I will ask now to our guests, what is something that you want to celebrate as we are closing this Women History Month? And maybe tell us something that was actually joyful for you as you went through this month. Maybe Rihanna, if you want to start.
Okay, so one thing that I would say quite an accomplishment and that brings me joy is that it's the first time that I am mentoring for women in tech. And actually, before I took this step forward, I was quite questioning myself because I knew most of the mentee would be probably heavily IT background, and I'm not from an IT background. But then I said no, like I really enjoyed my time as a mentee when I was a fellow in AfriTech. So why not this time try mentoring in women in tech? And it's already 6 months, and I would say I really quite enjoys this path. And like I always say, we are always learning something new. Even with my mentee, I learn things from her and she learns things from me. So it has been quite a nice path together. So it's already coming to an end. So that's why it's sometimes you should not or put the barriers yourself, not to grab the opportunities which are here. And secondly, one thing that I'm also very proud is that I'm currently working on a project. It's a collaboration between my department and a parastatal body, which is not out yet, but this is quite an impressive work being done. So yeah, hope it will be out soon. I don't know yet. These are two things that I'm really proud this month.
Thank you so much, Fiona. And I think you should be celebrating yourself even more because I think that's definitely a great path that you've taken. And as you said, you went against what maybe the first voice in your head was telling you, maybe you won't get to do that. Maybe you're not enough, right? But you listened to your gut feeling telling you that you could do it. And I think it kind of linked to what we were talking about, the mask that we wear, the different pressure that we feel from the society, and you went against that and still went to do something that you like. So thank you so much for sharing this, Rihanna. And Chitra.
Thank you, Anga. I think for me, it's difficult to choose just one milestone, and especially like in just this specific month. But I would say over the past 7, 8 years, when I've been more involved in the community, I would say one of the things I'm really proud of is the journey from what I was before and what I am now. And it's all thanks to the women and the people I've met all along the way, be it in those different groups, AfriTech, and and how this has been growing. Because I remember knowing Vero from another course another program that I was in, and she created AfriTech, and through her I got into AfriTech, and I don't know where I would go next through AfriTech now. So I just love the fact that there is such a ripple effect to the whole journey of being empowered. And I would say that a personal achievement, and I still pinch myself today asking myself, did it really happen, was back in 2023 when I was selected for the World Economic Forum. I think it was somehow, like, there was 100 of applicants and I was in the top 50 and I got selected. And it was so surreal because I was someone who come from a very conservative family. I wouldn't even go all around the country, and now I was traveling to an unknown place, and I met with people like the Ministry of Finance of like big countries. I met with astronauts, and I met with the head of the European Space Center, and these are things I could only dream of, and I had this imposter syndrome all the days I was there. I was like, do I belong here? Am I taking the chance for someone else? And so many things. But after that opportunity and the fact that I've been in such communities where women have been supporting each other, I've also learned to accept myself. I've also learned to say to myself, okay, but I might have earned my space here. And with time and the fact that we celebrate International Women's Day, it's more coming into my head now that women, they work hard to be where they are, and they should appreciate and enjoy the journey as much as they can. So I would say through those experiences, I've learned that we should be celebrating our progress, whether it's personal, whether it's collective progress, and we should keep having the courage to move forward. So I would say that's a bit what I wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Chitra. And this, again, it reminds me of another conversation that, which is beautiful because I feel like it is a closing of the month as we reveal all of the discussion that had happened. I think it was last week during one of the sessions where we were talking, and someone mentioned how the more they seem to achieve in life, the more luck people say they have. But it's not actually luck, it's hard work. It's hard work, and it's actually intentionally pushing to make things happen, right? And that's what, and I'm not saying that men are not doing it. I do think that every individual wakes up every day and do it. But for some reason, the people that seem to have more luck in society is women. So every time a woman is striving and doing something, people will say, "Oh, you're so lucky." But it's not just the luck; it's also the hard work that comes behind. And you should definitely celebrate and stop pinching yourself because it really did happen. And I'm very proud of you. And I think it's really, really great that you got to be on that stage. And maybe you will be on even bigger stage as we grow and we keep growing. And you are again representing this hope in other women, other girls that are thinking maybe they are not enough. Maybe they can't achieve this much, but then they see you and they are like, I guess I can do it. If she can do it, then maybe I can do it too. And that's when we do think that representation also matters in that way. And that brings me to the flip side of things. So we do celebrate and we do take a lot of time to put together events and sessions and what we want to showcase during the Women History Month. But on the flip side, I want to discuss any challenges or issues that you feel need more attention and that maybe you'd like to see improved in the future. I would like to ask in more precisely, what is something that you'd like to call out or address as we close this Women History Month? Maybe it's something that you've seen throughout this month, even more now that it was specifically named as Women History Month. So maybe Chitra, if you want to go at this one.
Thank you, Anga. I think when you asked me this question, there were so many things that came to my head. I could have talked about unequal pay or having more women representation on boards, etc. But there's something more special, I would say special, but more I would say deep that I would want to address is sometimes I would say I see it a lot now that women are having to balance more of their career and ambitions over personal and family responsibilities. I'm not saying that over time this has not improved. I'm not saying that there has not been progress. And it's great to see that women are having more, support from the families. But when you actually reflect and take time to ask one of many of the women that you know in your community, you'll see that there is an unspoken pressure that they have to choose. They have to either fully pursue their careers or prioritize to manage their households. Like, I have a own colleague, and I had this conversation with her last week. We had a really hectic schedule. She hadn't had lunch the whole day, and the first thing when she gets home that the family ask her is, what are we eating for dinner? What are we having? So I kind of fully understand that obviously this is not going to change today or tomorrow, but there needs to be a mindset change. There needs to be a fact that we need to be able to help women that are very capable and that have high potential from stepping back or slowing down or even opting out of opportunities because they just don't have the environment that supports them. It's not that they lack ambition or that they are not capable enough, but I feel that they could be supported in many of the areas, and we could make it feel more natural for them, not having to think that there's also a house that they have to manage. And there's always this quote, and I know I will sound very Instagram reels like, but when they ask, okay, a woman is coming late, it could see that she's doing wrong things, but when a man is coming late, then it's like, yeah, he's working very hard, he's finishing up work late. So I kind of feel, and the more I speak with women and more deeply, I realize that we do need this mindset change. We do need to create an environment where, with the right mentorship, with the right sponsorship, at different stages of their career, the woman feels that there's no one holding them back or slowing them down, and they could continue at the same speed that I would say a male counterpart would be able to do so. So obviously we could do things at policy level, government, etc., but having the right support in your own household or in your own community and everywhere else can really help pushing us or taking us at lightning speed to where we want to be in the future. So I would say that's one challenge. I feel it's going to take time, but we can do it happen if we're all together.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Chitra. And I do agree with you when you say that it does have to start at the individual level if we want it to reach the policy level, because if we don't change that mindset, as you say, it's going to be very difficult to make it actually in the law or in the constitution or something. And I think you're very true when you're saying this. There is uh, an article that I was reading the other day. I don't remember the numbers but I do remember they were talking about how before women was meant to stay at home, right? The men would go out to work and the women would stay at home, take care of the kids, take care of the house, take care of the household, the food, so that when the man would come back, he would just have to to sit down, have everything taken care of by the wife or the woman, and then it would be okay because the load would be shared because the women would be at home, the man would be at work. Nowadays, women work as well. So both of them leave the household in the morning and leave and do whatever they need to do and come back home. But for some reason, it is still expected of her to do all of this household thing at the side, which makes it completely illogical. Like I don't understand how it's still in place when it's not even logical and it doesn't even make sense to begin with. But yeah, when this article actually said that, I was like, this is so true. It's not even thought about, it's said out loud. People are actually expecting you to do both of it. And that's what they call having it all, which is unfair because why do we need to choose when it's not something that we had the pressure on to begin with. The pressure was placed on us. So thank you for sharing this. And I definitely think this is a challenge that needs to be addressed. And hopefully, as we keep going forward, it will be. Let's have hope. I do want to have hope that it might change at some point. When, I don't know, but let's be hopeful about it. And Ryana?
Well, for me, I would say I will just add two things again. I mean, Chitra is right, but there's also for me in my I mean in my sector, I feel there is more attention required in terms of access. You know, access to opportunities, mentorship, decision making spaces, especially because often in technical and emerging fields, you feel that the women sometimes are here on the board or in the meetings, but are they really being heard? That's another thing, that their input are really being taken into consideration. And I think many women have the skills and passion, but not always the visibility, network, and institutional support, of course, for this advance. Then also another important thing, the safe space I think is still it still does not exist for us to express like for example the environment that we work every day, you don't really feel safe to learn, experiment, and fail, especially fail, because we are all humans, not everything will work all the time. So the safe space is definitely not here yet, so I hope in the future. But these two things for me are really quite challenges in terms of women's issues that we address every in our job, in organization, and communities.
Thank you, Rihanna. And I think it's true. Again, it's a sense of changing mindset, right? It all begins from changing mindset because, as you say, there is access to more opportunities and giving them a voice where they actually feel like they can voice out without fearing being fired because they are voicing it out. So I think it's this change of mentality and of mindset again when people or aware of what is happening. Because I think if someone says nowadays that they are not aware of what is happening, they're lying. I don't know if they are lying to themselves or if they are just blind, but it is a very obvious now. And even more when people are actually voicing it out and are tagged with different title labels rather than actually being heard for what the problem actually is. And I think it does start with naming them, naming the challenges is the first step towards changing it. So again, I do want to be hopeful that at some point it will change and we won't have to fight and we won't even have to wait for Women History Month to get pampered from our office or get an event just on Women's Day and then being forgotten the whole year, which is something that is quite sad, but really true. And as we look, at this clock turning and as we close March, I want us to look towards what April look like and what beyond looks like, what 2026, 2027, because there is a lot of things happening in this world. And I don't know if looking at the future is something that it's easy to be hopeful about. And I do want to be hopeful because if everybody is negative and nothing is going to happen. So I do want to be hopeful, and I do want to end up with this question that is about being hopeful. I want us to maybe take some time to envision what the future and talk about the kind of events or activities that we would like to see that would actually inspire and empower others moving forward. So, what types of events or maybe initiatives would you like to see in the future for women's celebration, whether it's been through Women History Month, Women's Day, or beyond? Because we should not leave those discussions or those events just for March, just for Women's Day. So, what type of celebration do you think we could see or envision in our everyday life as we move forward? Rihanna?
For me, I would really like to see more like hands-on and skill building events, because I firmly believe that this is more efficient in terms of gaining a practical skills than just to sit and listen to workshop over days over how we will change things when most of the things will not be changed. So I think instead of this, these women can get really practical skills, whether it's in technology or just general knowledge or additional knowledge, I think it's much more interesting whether it's, let's say, technology, you are giving them geospatial technology, AI, project management, or entrepreneurship. I think these kind of spaces really build both competence and confidence. And one thing that I also love is like to see programs where there are cross-disciplinary collaborations, because I think when you have people from very different fields, like you learn much more, even if you are not, let's say I'm not into finance and I will meet people that are finance, maybe you will get some general knowledge from them that will be useful somehow in your work or even personal life. So I think these two things are very important. And one thing that I really enjoyed in AfriTech was that we were so different from each other, our background, but yet at the end we all enjoyed our fellowship, and we all learned from each other.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. And I agree. We should take the time to be with others and learn from others. I think, and you've mentioned this earlier as well when you were talking about this mentorship program that you're doing with Women in Tech, is how you keep learning as you go. You learn from mentees, you learn from your own mentors, you learn from yourself, you learn from communities you join. So we keep learning as we go. And I think it's very important that we take some time to intentionally go out there and meet other people, either through networking or through open sessions, because this is what creates a community. Actually being intentional and going out there and choosing to be really yourself. So thank you for sharing this. I think it's really, really important. Chitra?
Yes, so I would say I would take it two-folded. I would first of all think of starting from very grassroots level, and what I mean by that is from starting from the younger generation. I would say having the proper guidance to the younger girls and the children, so that they know what they want in life, and what can guide them. And I also think that giving them something else other than their educational curriculum also helps shape the person that they become. For example, they just go to school and tuition and then back home, but instead, let's say if they engage in I don't know, martial arts, or just a community where they meet other people and just get to know different things in life, can help shape them. But more at general level, like as women, I really love the fact that we know each other's stories. Like for example, I know, Anga, what you've gone through, and the challenges you've gone through, and how you've overcome for it, and how Rihanna has done it for her story, and how we spotlight on how diverse our community is, and how each one of us did get out of the situation we were, and how we are empowering and encouraging others. And there's something that I read somewhere that an organization did. I forgot which country was it from, but let's say I work in a specific sector, and there is the head of the team, right? Or the head. So they give you the experience of stepping in the shoes of that head for one day. So let's say I work at the bank, they tell you, okay, one day in the shoes of the CEO, for example. So being there and experiencing that can actually get you to dream bigger, and to be ambitious, and to know how how many things you can achieve, and how far can you go. So I think having such inclusiveness and opportunities, be it for men or women, can really help us push forward. So from being a child, to you growing up, and to being a woman in a specific sector, I think spotlighting on your different stories, and also creating really like concrete opportunities, not just as Rihanna was saying, having talks and talking is fine, but what's the concrete impact that's happening. So having such programs can really help us. So I would say that that's also one of them.
Thank you, Chitra. And I like the fact that you are actually looking at it intergenerationally, because I think this is something that we often forget. When we are young, we think about us as young people, we want this. When we grow older, we're like, okay, us as adults, we want this. And then when we grow older, I mean, I'm guessing that even the elders would say, us as elders, we want this. And it's important to think of ways that is actually helping older generation as we grow, because we need to actually realize, because I think it's something we forget, but we were kids too. So how was it for us when we were teenagers? How annoying was it that we were seeing some people having the opportunities and we didn't even have the potential, all I mean, not the potential, but like the capacity to go and do it because we didn't have it in our accessible enough. So I think it's very important to do give out these options so that the youth, as they grow, they think they have options. And I love the idea of being the manager or the CEO for a day, because you talked about how you get to think about how it would be if you did that and how great it would be to be in this position. But I think it also gives you an empath look into what it's like to be the CEO, because sometimes as we are below, we are judging the CEO taking on decisions because we're like, if I was the CEO, I would not have taken this decision. This decision is bad because I know it's bad. It's not taking into consideration what we think. But then someday you find yourself in this position and you're like, actually, that person was right. The reason why they did that decision is it was the right decision at that time. Or maybe sometimes it's just a bad decision. But I think it gives you some time to actually reflect on what it can be and what the CEO could be thinking. So definitely great example and great types of events that we can have in the future. So that was my last question to you. I mean, the last planned question. I might have a lot of other question if we don't have any from others. So if there is anyone from the audience who has questions, you can put it in the chat, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself and share with us. It doesn't have to be a question. If you want to reflect on the month, reflect on how you felt about this month, the Women History Month, in your own way, go ahead and do so. Okay, as we wait, if there is anyone who wants to come forward about this, I do want to ask, and maybe if you want to answer in the audience as well, you can put it in the chat. What was maybe your favorite event that you might have attend this month, or something that was held in your own organization, or something that you're very happy about that happened this month? And I'll let you think. I will share about my favorite so far. So I was very, very happy for me personally, the whole Women History Month series on Women on AfriTech Connect was really, really exciting. It was great to have different guest speakers. It was great to get inputs from the audience. It was great to have this space as a nice touch point throughout the month. But one of my definitely my favorite event this month was the another uncelebrated event that AfriTech did in collaboration with Women in Tech. I think this was a very, very nice event because it was a space where I actually met people that I would never have met if I didn't go to that space. And it does remind me of what you were saying earlier, Ryana, that we do need to go out of our comfort zone and try to find other people that do not think like us so that we get to have this different perspective of things. And it was really enriching. And I was very happy to be there to facilitate this workshop with Veronique Jenkins. And yeah, the space was amazing. I was very happy to be in a space where AfriTech and Women in Tech was together, because there are two organizations that are very dear to my heart. So yeah, that was my favorite event of the month. So I don't know who wants to go first for you guys.
Ryana, you want to go first?
For me, I would say the first episode of AfriTech Connect. I really did enjoy that episode. And also because it also highlighted one very important thing about storytelling. You know, when you share things that happen, you know, especially when you're a safe space, you're sharing. You know, when you went through things, even at work or personal life, you don't realize how you didn't. Maybe sometimes you didn't go through the exact same thing, but the feeling sometimes it was the same feeling. So when someone relate and you can relate to the story, I think it's very important that you are aware that you are not alone. There are many people going through the same thing at the same time, and maybe sometimes those who have already been over something, they can even advise you.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. Chitra?
Yes, I would try and say it's the same thing. I joined, I think it was the fourth session of AfriTech Connect, and it really there were quite a few people on the call, and everyone was sharing. There was a lot of question. I loved the energy, and I wouldn't say like in this specific month, but in general, when we celebrate International Women's Day, I love the excitement and how the more I see, these days how men are showing up for their partner or for the woman in their community. Like I know it's just one day, but they post about them. They say how proud they are, and this was something I wasn't seeing 10 years back. So I think that was some of the most favorite part. There are things that we could always improve, but I'm actually so happy to see how things are changing for the better. So I would say these two are my favorite moments from the uh, Women History Month.
Thank you so much, Chitra. And yes, I think both of you, the different sessions that you attended was definitely great sessions. And yeah, I actually didn't think about what you just said, Chitra, but it's true. And I think it's a good way to also say that we are not, there's a lot of talk about how we are mad at men, but I don't think we are mad at every man. So I'm very grateful for the men who actually do show up for those events or for the different partners in their life, because I think it's important. I think it's important, just as we say that we need different perspective as we grow to learn from each other. We also need men to be part of a discussion, because if we don't have men part of a discussion, we won't be able to solve anything. We won't be able to have this actual discussion and changing the mindset. So yes, man, you're also very important. So thank you for your presence in one way or the other. So thank you. So Nikita is saying thank you, AfriTech, for this series. Loved it. Thank you so much, Nikita, for attending them and for showing up in our little space. It means a lot to us. And thank you to each one of you who attended any of the sessions or any way of being present in one way or the other. I do want to say thank you to all the different speakers we had. Thank you to different programs that we've been able to create. Thank you to Women in Tech, Mauritius, who has been a great partner so far for AfriTech, and we are very looking forward to creating even more spaces together. I will say thank you to Chitra and Rihanna for being present tonight and for closing this session with me. It means a lot. And you've reminded us that whether we are in a bank or an agricultural field, our presence and our progress matter every single day. So thank you so much. And to our community out there, this might be the last day of March and the last episode of this series for the AfriTech Connect. But the spirit of the AfriTech Connect is not dead, and we will keep having more conversation as we grow on different topics, as we keep innovating. And I do want to tell all of you who have missed the different sessions that we've had in the past, it all is available on our YouTube channel called the AfriTech Fellowship. So go ahead and watch them. And please stay tuned on our social media and our website if you want to know more about all the upcoming sessions that we might have. So thank you all of us, to for what we are, I think it's important to celebrate each of us. So thank you to me, thank you to you, thank you to all of us, and thank you for showing up. And until next time, I will say keep innovating and keep advocating, more importantly, and keep marching forward for even more changes to happen. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you, everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.